Andre Khatchaturian here with this Detroit Pistons assistant coach and newly named head coach of the Armenian national basketball team, Rex Kalamian. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Andre. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
And thanks for taking the time to join. Rex, you've had quite the year so far in 2022. January 11, you earned your first career win as a head coach, and then shortly after that, you were named the head coach of the Armenian national team. I want to talk about the win first. You don't officially get the win in the record book, but we can't deny the fact you coached an NBA team to victory, and it was a comeback win against a pretty good team, the Utah Jazz. How did that feel for you after spending 3 decades as an assistant?
It was really satisfying. I had a great time. I coached actually five games this season because our head coach, Dwayne Casey, was out for various reasons. And for that night, he was out under COVID protocol. And, Utah is such a good team and so well coached by Quinn Snyder. And we had been a little depleted at the time because of health and safety issues and some injuries and some different things. So I wasn't sure how the game was going to go, but our guys were so resilient, and Corey Joseph and Cade Cunningham had great games, and just there were so many people there, and I really appreciated the effort, the enthusiasm, and the backing of our team, and not only during the game, but there were so many guys before the game and after that had come up to me that said, "We really want to get this win for you, Rex," and it meant a lot to me. So it was truly satisfying.
And what did it feel like walking into the locker room and just getting doused by all sorts of liquids?
Really exciting. I wish it was champagne. I'd rather win a championship and get doused with champagne than water, but really, really satisfying. And again, it showed the love and care of our team. And I really appreciate that because there are so few moments, especially with the kind of season that we're having, that you have high points in the season. Our season isn't going as expected, and we're really rebuilding, and it's been a difficult season for us. But that certainly was a high point for me personally, and really throughout my career. 27 years in the NBA. There are a lot of games that blend together, and then a few that really stand out. And for my career, this game forever will stand out against the Utah Jazz.
That's awesome to hear. It's very admirable as well. And then shortly after that, you were hired as the head coach of the Armenian national basketball team. And can you kind of explain what that process was like? Was it something that they had reached out and approached you before, or how did that come about? What happened?
Yeah, it really began a couple of years ago. The Armenian Basketball Federation reached out to me, and they had wanted to know my interest in possibly coaching the team. And at the time, I did have a lot of interest. Probably 3 years ago, I was leaving, Toronto, the Raptors at the time, heading to Los Angeles to take a job with the Clippers. And it was a really tumultuous time and summer, and it was very difficult for me to put any time into something outside of what I was doing in my job, and starting a new job with the Clippers. It was very difficult, so I had to pass that summer, and then consequently the next summer, the summer after, because of COVID, I wasn't able to commit any time. And then we went to the bubble the one summer, and we spent 75 or 80 days of the summer basically in the bubble competing during COVID. So I haven't had time. And now that I'm with the Detroit Pistons and things have settled down a little bit, we have remained in contact, myself and the Armenian Federation. And we talked about this being a great time for me to come in and take over the national team, and also help the younger teams. And I don't want that to get lost in translation. There's a lot of youth basketball that need to I think be coached, to be developed, need to grow. And the under 16 teams, the under 18, under 20, all those teams that need some attention as well. And hopefully we're going to bring all those programs along together at the same time.
That's fantastic. And you were just talking about, your situation in Detroit and how it wasn't quite the season that you wanted it to be. And the team itself is kind of a rebuilding team, trying to build a foundation for the future. And I feel like there's a lot of experience to be gained from that, especially when you go into a situation like the Armenian national team, which is, also trying to build a foundation. How do you think that experience is the experience of being in the NBA with a rebuilding franchise, going to help you in the international situation?
Well, I'd like to back up just a little bit to 2009. That's when I first took a job with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I was coming from Sacramento at the time, and I connected with Coach Scott Brooks there, and I was an assistant there for 6 years. And we had a very young team that I think the previous year had only won 19 games. And I came to a team that had drafted James Harden that summer. We had first-year player Russell Westbrook, second-year player Kevin Durant, had also drafted Serge Ibaka, had guys like Thabo Sefolosha and Nenad Krstić and Jeff Green. So we were considered a very young team. We were considered a developing team and a team that was possibly 2 to 3 years away from possibly being in contention to make the playoffs. And I'll tell you, because of the stability and the organization and the foundation of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the management, ownership, and coaches, and the players, we grew so fast. We were able to make the playoffs. We won 50 games my first year there. And I really saw the right way to grow, develop, and sustain a basketball program. And I took that with me. I was there for 6 years, and I've taken those experiences with me, and they've kind of been embedded in who I am as a coach. And I'm going to attack the Armenian national team this summer the same way that we kind of attacked the Oklahoma City youth in 2009, with like just a growth mindset and a development mindset, and just teaching a lot of these young players the game, and trying to teach not only the players but the coaches as well.
Right. And I remember that first playoff series, the Thunder and the Lakers, and it was
Yes.
the year the Lakers they won the title that year, and they pushed it to 6 games. I totally remember that series. It was I grew up in LA and was a big Lakers fan, and I remember getting quite the scare. I'm like, oh, this team's going to be good for a long time. The Thunder.
Yeah, they won Game 6 on a tip-in by Pau Gasol.
Yeah.
Yes, at the buzzer. Otherwise, we were going to Game 7 in LA.
That's awesome. I don't know why I remember that, but I remember that. That's really cool.
That's those are one of the games that will forever be embedded in my memory. That's one of them.
And you just talked about Westbrook, Durant, and Harden. You've worked with so many stars throughout your career. Carmelo Anthony in Denver, Kevin Garnett in Minnesota, and Kawhi Leonard, I believe, in Toronto.
Yes, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George.
Yeah, it's a bunch of future Hall of Famers. So what have you taken away from these guys and how they prepare or practice, whether it's on the court or off the court, that you want to kind of install into this Armenian national program?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I not only do I coach these players, a lot of times they are coaching me, and I'm learning from great players as well. Just recently in Toronto, I coached DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, two, all-stars, future Hall of Famers. And I learned so much. DeMar and I not only had a coach-player relationship, but we're very, very good friends. And I learned so much, not only on the court, but how to grow people off the court as well. And I think it's important that when you come into any situation, we're not just coaching basketball. We're also for me personally, I'm also a life coach. I want to be a coach, a mentor to younger people. I want to tell my story. I want to give people hope that basketball, if that's the avenue that you choose, the road that you choose, there is a career in basketball as a player, as a coach, in some form or fashion, if you work hard enough. And you ask the question, what do I learn from these players? The great ones, like James Harden, like Kevin Durant and Kevin Garnett, and like I mentioned, DeMar DeRozan, the great ones have a work ethic that allows them to be great. Their work ethic, the unseen hours that they put in, that, when the lights are off in the summertime, early mornings, late nights, before the television cameras flip on, that's what makes them great. And I tell the story about Kevin Durant all the time in the summertime when we would go up to UCLA, on how he would, in the middle of August, how he would practice at 9 a.m. and then come back and shoot at 9 p.m. It was called 9 and 9, he said. And he wanted to do it every day because he had an insatiable appetite to be great and to be the best. And I saw it firsthand. I would say that he did a lot of that on his own. I was just lucky enough to be along for the ride and watch him grow. But the great ones are great because of their work ethic and I think their mental capacity.
That's fantastic, and you have all these experiences and treasure trove of experiences that you're going to bring to the Armenian national team and the entire program, like you mentioned, the youth development, and I'm very excited to see what happens in the next few years and in brighter days ahead. I feel like the national team has in the last few years they had to withdraw from some tournaments, and just what do you think is a reasonable goal for this program in the next few years?
Well, initially we're involved in the small countries championship for FIBA. I would like to obviously go to Malta, where we're going to be competing and win this tournament. And then, in the future, whether it's next summer or even prior to next summer, there are a few other tournaments that we would like to enter into and eventually, build our, build our brand and build our country and build our federation, our team, so that not only is the team represented very well and we're moving up in the FIBA rankings, but also where the youth are starting to progress, and we're starting to see a foundation that we're being able to build where we could get 9, 10, 11, 12, 15-year-olds to start to improve so that we could add them to the national team. And
Right.
I think that's really how, Armenia obviously is a small country of 2.5, 3 million people, but there have been other small countries that have succeeded in FIBA basketball, Slovenia being one of them. And, thanks obviously to guys like Luka Doncic and Goran Dragic, but there are many small countries that have been successful. And there's no reason why Armenia cannot be one of those. I think with the right infrastructure in basketball and the right coaching and development, we can get to the point where we are, a top 15 to 20 ranked country in FIBA basketball.
That would be an impressive feat. And just for you personally, your family comes from Armenian genocide survivors. What does it feel like for you? First of all, like people know you're Armenian from your last name and they recognize you throughout your career as an Armenian. How has that felt like for you to represent the Armenian community throughout your professional career?
Well, obviously, I'm very proud. I'm very proud to be Armenian. I'm very proud about what the definition of an Armenian person represents. I think that when you think of Armenian people, you as a whole, you think of a resilient group of people, a respectful group of people, and a hardworking nation. And that's what I'm trying to represent. And I realize that in the NBA, I'm and the first Armenian NBA coach. Hopefully, there are more to come behind me. But I know that there are a lot of people who are looking at me, and I would want to represent them well. My grandmother is an Armenian genocide survivor. I heard from her own mouth how she escaped the genocide and eventually made her way to Ellis Island in New York. And, as a teenager ran virtually for her life, literally. So it's very impactful. And, when people ask me who my heroes growing up were, or when I look back now, who they are, I always represent my grandmother, and I always think of her because without her courage and without her just survival skills, for myself, I wouldn't be here. So it's a tremendous story. And I know there's so many people, so many Armenians that have similar stories to that of my family.
Rex, that's very impactful. And, what I really want to see is down the road, some point this decade, is an Olympic basketball showdown between Australia and Armenia. Two Armenian basketball coaches, Brian Goorjian and you, going at it together. How awesome would that be? That's what I want to see this decade.
That'd be great. That would be great. I'd look anything in the Olympics. I'm all for it.
And Brian, of course, he brought the bronze medal to Australia in the Olympics this past summer. Hopefully you will have similar success in the international game and also in the NBA. Hopefully get a head coaching job soon. And most of all, thank you so much for being a great representative of the Armenian community. We're all very proud of you, and best of luck going forward.
Thank you, Andre. I appreciate the kind words, and good luck with everything that you're doing as well.